Fit in 10 Nation. It is day 16, and I just want to say one thing here. If I have not gotten back to your feedback from the week before, the one that you're supposed to send in to me every week, right, at the end of every week, the one where you fill out that online form, right? You know what I'm talking about, hopefully. Then just be patient, keep sending it in to me. I will get to it, okay? There's going to be a backlog, and I'll get to it as the videos come through. Something else I want to say too is Slack. I am behind on Slack as well, so just bear with me. I'm getting to you. I've got quite a lot of questions here, and this is great, and I don't want you to think that, I don't want you to feel, if you do feel this way, because I have people saying, I don't want to bother you, I don't want to bother you. You're not bothering me, so just send it in, and I will get back to you, okay? All your questions are important. Also, some people are asking about adding me as a friend in MyFitnessPal. I would prefer, I can do that, and that's no problem. And I'm happy to do that if you want to look at my eating journal, if it means anything to you. But I don't want to go that route to look at your food. It's very arduous for me to go through, and some people's usernames, I don't know who they are. So it's just easier for me. I'm just gonna ask you to please send it in to me through Slack. Okay, just do those snapshots, send it to me, and I'll take a look. Okay, but if you do want to add me as a friend, I'm more than happy to. It's actually just my whole name. It's just Mark_ST_Arnaud. That's all it is. So I've got, again, an underscore between the ST and an underscore between the last part of my name. So if you want to add me, sure, go ahead. And but I like I said, I prefer to look at it through Slack, please. Okay. All right. So great question here. I know I did address this yesterday, but maybe, a lot of times I don't. I don't know if I explain this clearly enough, or I think sometimes people watch videos. I do this a lot of times. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just don't hear certain things. So I'm gonna go through this a little bit more in detail, and maybe take a different angle at it. It's another question about weight and fat loss, etc. Okay, so body weight and fat loss. So the question is this: could the percentage of fat loss be higher if you have more weight to lose, or based on the amount of weight each person has to lose? Does this make sense? So Brad has 7 pounds to lose. I'm reading out names here, hope this is okay. So Brad has 7 pounds to lose, and I have 17 to lose. Presume this is based on the 30% goal you set. I presume if either of us lose more, we increase our fat percentage. I think you mean, there's no other word after that, so I'm assuming you mean we increase our fat percentage loss. I think that's probably what you're asking me. Typically, someone who has a lot of weight to lose will have a higher percentage of fat loss, correct? So I'm wondering here if you're asking me, okay, so I'm not sure what you're asking me here. I think what you're asking me is it easier for people to lose fat, more fat, if they have more fat to lose? So there is a bit of truth to this, but this is why I make it percentage based. So as you get leaner, as your body fat gets lower, it's going to be harder for you to take it off. Okay, because obviously you're getting down to the nitty gritty, and anybody who's done any competitive form of physique competition can tell you that. Well, really, I shouldn't say any physique, because some of the physique categories you don't have to get that lean. But let's say something like bodybuilding. I can tell you it gets harder as you get down to the very end. So, but you don't have to, when we're talking about percentage of fat loss, obviously when you're leaner and it's harder to take off the fat, you don't have to lose as much either, okay? Whereas if you have more fat to lose, yeah, you have more to chew through, but it's easier for your body, generally speaking. It's going to be easier for your body to let go of that. So you both have, like, a pro and a con, right? So again, this is why I do the percentage loss. So let me just read this one more time. Typically, someone who has a lot of weight to lose will have a higher percentage of fat loss, correct? No, this is not the case. If I go through the history of my challenges, I would say that on average, yeah, definitely on average, it's actually been people who have not as much to lose that end up doing better. Now that's, I mean, we'd have to do some stats on that and see if it's, whatever, statistically significant or anything like that. But I can tell you that generally, but it's not always the case, right? Like, last challenge we had, our winner didn't have that much body fat, but we had somebody who lost a tremendous amount of body fat. They came third, and they were very close to the winner. So it just, there are a lot of variables at play here. Okay. So actually, this question is different than the one I talked about yesterday. Okay, so the question continues actually. Even though the video says ignore the scale, I lost 3 pounds first week, and it looks like I gained about 1.5 pounds, period. I'm assuming you mean this week. Look forward to 3-week weigh-in for accuracy. Okay, so yeah, listen, so I touched upon this a little bit yesterday. Your weight is going to go up and down just day to day. Weigh yourself every morning. Wake up in the morning, first thing, no clothes, just to keep the variables, to keep everything as consistent as possible. Weigh yourself every single day. Okay, you're going to see there's going to be fluctuation. You can't account for the small amount of fat loss, whether it's 2 pounds or 4 pounds or even 6 pounds, and try to separate that from the water in the body that's doing this all the time, and that's affected by so many variables. So you could lose, for example, you could go through a whole week, you could lose 2 pounds of fat, and at the end of the week, it's possible for you at that time that you weigh yourself at whatever time the date is, that you are heavier. Okay, so and again, this is going to boil down to the time of the day that you weigh yourself. But also, coming back to that example, if you weighed yourself, let's say morning to morning, keeping all variables the same, it's still very possible for you to lose 2 pounds of fat, 3 pounds of fat, 4 pounds of fat, and still have your weight higher on that 7th day in the morning, okay, or 8th day, or whenever you weigh yourself again. Okay, so obviously you're not going to see this when you lose 10 pounds of fat or 12 pounds of fat or 50. Like at some point, once you start losing enough fat, you're not gonna, the water's not gonna fluctuate so much that you don't see that loss of fat, because your body's not gonna fluctuate in water, to that degree, right? It's not gonna fluctuate 10 pounds. Well, it depends. My weight can actually fluctuate that much. Not 10 pounds, but it fluctuates typically per day about 8 pounds from morning to night. And then if I get a short sleep, etc. But the point here is once you lose enough fat, it's going to exceed the fluctuation in water in the body. Okay, so when you choose to weigh yourself, just try to keep as many variables as consistent as possible. But remember, things that are going to affect your body weight, there are so many variables that are going to affect your body weight. And I went through this in the last video, but I'll say it again. Hormones are going to affect this, stress is going to affect this, salt consumption, carbohydrate consumption, water consumption, the amount of sleep you get, possibly medication, and there's more that I could list. Okay, I just can't think of more, but there are more. All right, so just keep this in mind when we're talking about a small amount of fat. Okay, and I don't know if I can set up a hard rule here, but it just depends on the person, the amount of muscle mass they have. When you are trying to measure a small amount of fat, it's just really hard to do that by the scale. Okay, really, really hard. All right, let's get to the message of the day because I'm already at 9 minutes. So let's do that. Message of the day is this one, and please remember this. This is you versus you. This is you versus you. Focus on yourself. You'll always see somebody that you think is better than you, making better progress than you, is more lucky than you, or whatever. You don't know what that person does, and you know what? It's irrelevant. Even if all of that is true, doesn't help you. So you have to figure out what works. for you. Okay, now I will tell you for sure that when it comes down to it, you know, unless you're an extreme outlier, we're pretty much all on the same playing field. There's going to be some variation from person to person, obviously, but it's not going to be tremendous. Okay, so, but with all that being said, all right, stay in your own world, focus on you, and know that you have control over this. It's amazing to me how many clients I see that believe they don't have control over this. They don't have control over fat loss. Like I find it just baffling. You have full control over this. Focus on you, and everything outside of that is irrelevant, right? Okay? Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself. For the love of God, give some gratitude. I'll talk to you all very soon. See you guys.